What is the first brand that comes to your mind when you think about high-end technology? It is highly likely that your answer would be Apple. What is it that makes Apple so great though? I mean, we all know that a majority of its products are often priced heftily. Then why does everyone still prefer to buy Apple gadgets? Well, for most people, the answer is security. Apple is well known for keeping its customers' data secure and giving them a sense of privacy that no other tech company can compare. In fact, it is not just about ensuring that data is not corrupted or kept safe from hackers. Often, privacy protection is what Apple takes to the courtroom, whether the prosecutors are other major tech firms or even the government. Recently, Apple was part of a lawsuit filed by Facebook which opposed Apple's new 2021 feature that would allow users to control what kind of data they allow apps like Facebook to extract. Now, this might sound like a very noble idea, but Facebook took it in an equally moral yet opposite direction, stating how such a feature will disrupt its ability to provide useful data for marketing purposes to small businesses. With the hashtag #StandUpForTheSmall, Facebook published an ad in major newspapers, including the New York Times, stating how such an action was unjust towards small businesses who make up the bulk of Facebook advertisers, and how they could see a cut down of about 60% in sales for every dollar they spend. For Apple, however, the policy was simple. They claimed to be simply standing up for their users' privacy. That is exactly what gives Apple a marketing edge over its competitors like Samsung. Unsurprisingly, when these two tech giants went at it, the entire battle was very well contested. Facebook continually tried to paint Apple as some kind of monopoly that was intending to drive small business owners out of business. However, it was obviously impossible to prove this intent. Apple simply kept its stance firm that they were only out to protect their users' privacy. Whilst this issue is ongoing, Apple fights another battle in China that it has almost already won. Although it has not been legally contested as such, that battle is ongoing inside the market. Apple has been able to subvert pressure by Chinese tech firms that made money off of advertising and selling customer data. When these tech firms unanimously decided to adopt a collective strategy, implementing and coordinating the same rules, they believed that Apple would not risk losing these major apps and making their devices less desirable in China, which accounts for about 25% of Apple's total revenue. However, Apple reiterated that its privacy policy to allow users to choose what data they share with tech companies stands consistently throughout the globe. This really called these tech companies bluff, and they were forced to comply after realizing Apple's undeterred standing and strong customer base. One last example out of the many that can be given about Apple's unhindered intention to compromise on customers' privacy can be of Apple against the government. This was a famous lawsuit from back in 2016 that you probably already have some knowledge of. It was Apple against the FBI. Now, we all know how the FBI is notorious for being able to coerce entities into compliance. However, Apple did not budge. When Yung Feng was caught and confessed to drug charges, neither the DEA nor the FBI could break into and access his privacy thanks to his ever-reliable iPhone. However, when Apple refused to assist the FBI, the matter was taken to court, and Apple refused to help. Eventually, the court gave a verdict stating that considering that Apple was not involved in the crime, it had no legal obligation to assist the government in the investigation or its procedures, and nor could the court enforce an order based on any law to make Apple to do so. However, this was just one incident, and Apple had around 9 other cases pending against it, filed by the government. However, all of these had more or less yielded the same results, with Apple coming out on top. The real question comes as to why Apple really is so good at keeping its customers' data private and secure. How exactly does it manage to win so many privacy battles without even budging? Well, there are a number of answers to that. For starters, there is something very obvious. We all know that Apple is currently worth well over $2 trillion and is one of the largest companies in the world. With that, it must come as no surprise that Apple has a vast pool of resources to utilize to maintain its operations and, of course, fight its legal and market battles. Apple has one of the most efficient legal teams of any major conglomerate in the world, and this means that it has access to some of the very best brains when it comes to everything related to the courtroom. Through its comprehensive understanding of the legal systems in place around the world, Apple can put up a pretty tough fight inside the courtroom. Of the countless legal battles that it fought, its legal advisors knew exactly what part of the law they were going to base their argument on. For example, in the cases against the FBI, Apple's argument of not being obliged to cooperate due to its lack of involvement in the crime committed, the legal team cleverly manipulated its own fundamental functional rights as a private entity to make sure that it did not compromise on its positions and policies. Those same policies are exactly what give Apple a distinctive market edge. Furthermore, the company's strongly held position in the technology industry means that its substantial share in the market poses concerns for any that wish to oppose it, such as in the matter concerning the tech giants in China. Apple's confidence in its own market position meant that the opposing companies could not hold their ground, as theirs was a double-edged sword considering how their actions could, in fact, reduce their own market share, given how extensively popular Apple was with the Chinese market. If those companies had actually gone ahead and let Apple disallow their apps on Apple products, they would, in fact, lose a huge portion of the market that would otherwise have used their apps. This strength and confidence in Apple's market position also arise from the fact that the Apple customer base tends to be fiercely loyal. This means that, quite often, Apple customers will rather opt for keeping their privacy intact through continued use of Apple products rather than compromising that for the sake of using certain apps. In fact, it is exactly that concern for privacy that convinces Apple customers to opt for Apple products rather than less expensive alternatives, which have almost equivalent technological features as well as fewer subscription and service costs. Often, these customers know exactly how much they are overpaying and chose to do so in exchange for confidence in their data's security. It is this undeterred protection that makes Apple customers unconditionally loyal. In fact, this is also a major marketing point for Apple and is comprehensively elaborated within its privacy policy, being integral to the company's core values. Furthermore, Apple has a very conventional method for making money. It provides physical products in exchange for money. That simplistic nature allows it to feel unthreatened by challenging cyberspace trends. As with the case of Facebook, Apple really did not face any true risk should it empower customers to choose what data Facebook collects, since Apple simply does not make money off of data collection. This much was true in Facebook's argument, despite there being no proof for Apple's intent to undermine small businesses. Apple's clear response stated that if it was all about protecting its users' privacy, and that in effect poses no threats to Apple's revenues. Its simple yet concrete business model makes it immune to changes in the data exchange industry. That means, at the end of the day, Apple has nothing to lose and hence no solid reason to compromise on the privacy policy that only gives it a strategic market edge. As exciting as it is, we could go on and on about it, but we have given you the gist of it all. We hope you enjoyed this video. Do leave a like and let us know what you think in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more. Until next time.